Rev Tracie's. Say again? Exactly. That does not ring very well. There we go. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Sullivan, and I want to welcome you to the University Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I want to welcome members and friends and guests, both who are here in the room and also to people who are joining us online. We're happy for everybody that's here with us today. I want to thank Sunny Lula for our prelude. Oh, it's beautiful, thank you. We're going to start with committee moments. So if a committee chair who has an announcement about the activities of our congregation would like to come up to the microphone, go ahead and share all of the events that are happening.
First, this is the benefit of sitting on the front row. Hi all, I'm Rev Tracie, and I just wanted to first say thank you to my wonderful volunteers who helped on Wednesday at UCF Market Days and back here for the spaghetti dinner and the Come Feed Your Soul. It was a great turnout at the university. We had a lot of people really interested in us, so if you start seeing some new faces, be welcoming and inviting for them. They may be watching online. We recommended they check us out that way too. Our next event will be October 5th. We're going to be doing Market Days again at UCF. And then we will have our spaghetti dinner here at 6 p.m., which is free and vegan. So, and then not gluten-free, but if you need to bring your own gluten-free pasta, we can get that heated up for you and get you the sauce and all of that. And then at 7 p.m. is Come Feed Your Soul, which is a time to just pause in the busy week, take a breath, do some spiritual practices, that kind of thing. And then and that usually wraps up around 8. What I need are volunteers to help on this end of setting up and cooking and then cleaning up for both the spaghetti dinner and Come Feed Your Soul. So if you are interested and excited to do this, this is definitely an outreach to our community. This is one of our board goals, to reach our youth, and this is how we're reaching out. Just see me or email me at minister@universityus.org, and I would love to see you. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Chloe McElroy. I am here representing Millennial Plus Group. We are doing our Millennial Plus Group this Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Orlando Pub. It's downtown Orlando. It's a doggy bar. It is free for people. I think it's $15 if you bring your dog with you. Will be Millennial Plus is anyone 21 or older who feels like they fall into the Millennial Plus range. We welcome Gen Xers. We welcome Gen Zers, just as long as you're over 21. And if you need any information, please come find me. I normally hang out in the back, or I'll be back there. So.
Hi. As some of you know, the UUA, which is our national organization, is in the process of revising its bylaws. And currently they're working on Article 2, which includes our 7 principles and includes a statement of purpose and our statement of freedom of belief. And so I'm up here to let you know that an outreach committee has set up a whole series of Zoom meetings for UUs in the pews, all of us, to come and give our feedback. And this week, there are 5 sessions, one Sunday, one Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all at different times. So you might find a time that works for you. If you're interested, you can come talk to me or Tracy or Judith, or you can just Google Article 2 Study Commission, UUA, and scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you'll find the Zoom sessions you can sign up for. And just one more thing, and you might think, oh, bylaws, how boring. But some of the questions we're looking at or are being discussed is in the purposes, it's the relationship between the UUA and the individual churches. And also in freedom of belief, do we want accountability language or not? Okay, can we believe whatever we want, or should we be held accountable for what we believe? So those are 2 issues. And also in October, they'll be having Zoom sessions to talk about the principles. So that's one announcement. The second announcement is that last week I got up here, or 2 weeks ago, and I made an announcement for people who wanted to join the choir. But we also have people who sing as hymn leaders and song leaders. And there's only a few people who do this, and it'd be absolutely fantastic if we can get more people involved. And the good thing about this is you don't have to take time for practice. You don't have to come out. You can just come Sunday morning and do it. And you can talk to me, and we can work out something that will work for you if you want to. So that's another thing. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone. Just a quick reminder that John and I will be doing some music lessons. I'll be doing piano and trumpet. He'll be doing guitar. Hopefully I'll have a vocalist in the next week or 2 that I can let you all know about. But if you're interested in that, come see us. 20% of it's going to get invested right back into our lovely church. And that's all. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Amanda Major. I'm excited to announce that we're going to do another trunk or treat this year. Yeah. So be thinking about your costumes, be thinking about how you're going to decorate your trunk, what you might hand out. It will be at the end of October, likely after church as usual, but I don't have a date set in stone yet. Just be prepared. Thank you.
Hi, Joey Cole, just reminding everybody there is a SAC meeting. It is online. Marianne sent everything out. I'm going to be in the back on my computer, hopefully with Miak helping me to get set up. And so if you hadn't planned to go home and get on your own computer, you can come and join me in the back after church. And I think it's going to be at 11:55. Thank you.
Social Action Committee?
Thank you. Social Action Committee. And I'm chairing today because Marianne is on a trip. Lucky Marianne.
Yes, for a while. And I'm up here with my program planning hat on. Reverend Tracie and I picked a date that works for us, so hopefully it works for most of you that want to be involved in program planning. October 22nd in the afternoon from 1 to 3. There'll be an announcement in Notable News this coming week because there's going to be some questions. We want people to come prepared with some ideas. And thinking ahead to our 30th anniversary next year and what we're going to do for that. So just keep an eye out for that.
Thank you, everyone. My opening words are by a chaplain named Sally Frecia. She is a UU and an atheist. She tells a story about when she was learning to be a chaplain, and she was at a hospital and ended up at the bedside of the family of Ernesto, who was a devout Catholic man nearing the end of his life. She says, "A dozen pairs of teary eyes turned to me, and even though I am an atheist, what else could I do? I invited everyone to gather close. Together, we prayed the Hail Mary, the Our Father, and prayed that whatever came next would come with peace and overwhelming love. A powerful connection formed when that family reached for me, the chaplain, and asked me to put their sadness and their hopes into words and to tell their God what they needed. Those prayers were far from empty. I had assumed that my own theology would get between us and turn my prayers empty. But ever since that night at Ernesto's deathbed, I have surprised myself by offering many sincere prayers for healing and for God's presence in the life of those who desperately need to feel it. Whether I believe in the existence of any divine ear listening to us simply isn't the point, because when I open my mouth to pray on someone else's behalf, the particulars of my own beliefs become enormously unimportant. When I'm praying for a congregant or a patient in the hospital, it's not about me. The prayer is theirs, and I am just a conduit for their deep need. Every prayer, even an atheist prayer, is an articulation of connection. And so I have a prayer or a hope for all of us. May we release ourselves from the need to fit every truth neatly into our own language. May occasionally we forget ourselves long enough to remember each other. Our opening music will be hymn number 1, and Janet Levins will lead us.
Please rise and bow to your spirit. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, and 3. The third verse is something about holy wine, and we don't have communion here, so we will not do that one. Okay.
May nothing evil cross this soul, and may fortune never pry about these windows. May the roar and rain go by. By faith made strong the rafters will withstand the battering of the storm. This heart, though the world grow chill, will keep you warm. With laughter drown the raucous shout, and though these sheltering walls are thin, may they be strong to keep it out and hold love in. It's time for the lighting of the chalice. And our chalice lighter today is Livy. Her pronouns are she and her. And she is 8, but in 3 weeks she'll be turning 9. And her joy is that for her birthday she will be going to Legoland and staying in a hotel. Please join me. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And our affirmation: love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. I want to welcome everyone who has joined us here in person. And we also have people who are here online. We have people who are here for the first time. We have people who have been here a couple of years, and all sorts of ranges. But if you would now take a moment and turn and welcome the person next to you, thank them for coming here for this morning. Thank you. Boy, give you guys a second to say hello and you get out of control. So we are a community that values a diversity of opinion. So if this is your first or second time coming, come back a few times and let us get to know you as you get to know us a little better. So now we move to our time of joys and concerns. Sharing the important events of our lives is what brings us closer in community. If you have a joy or a concern that you would like to share, please come to the microphone and briefly share what is on your heart.
So, last time I had 2 water balloons in my house. My joy is that I had Starbucks today. I'm Livy Wheeler, and I have a joy and concern. My concern is that Judith is leaving and going to a new job, but I hope she's happy in her new job. But on the bright side, there's cake.
Amen, Livy.
Hello. Vì là bơi sẽ là thòng về à?
Can you say that again? Miles, say it again.
Sẽ là thòng về à?
All right, thank you.
It was Miles's big joy, and I think we all felt it in our hearts. Hi, I'm Chloe McElroy. I share the same concern and joy with Livy. Judith is leaving us, and this is her last day, and she has been a great joy to have in the back. She's been a fabulous mentor and a wonderful friend, and First Church is gaining a wonderful person, and we're losing a wonderful person, but it only gives opportunities for more people to explore and find out, more about our church and welcome a new DRE, and as they are welcoming a new DRE, but we are losing a dear friend, and that is a sadness and also a joy for her. I didn't mean to get emotional. I also went to Gainesville this weekend to see my sister, and my car broke while I was there. Right before my first day at Orlando Repertory yesterday, and I also found a very, very cute pit bull. He is in need of a home. Don't look, Tracy. He is a very sweet. He looks like he's about 6 years old. I don't have room for another dog, but if anybody's interested in a dog, he's nice. Okay, anyways, and my car is not broken anymore. Oh, I see people raising their hands, so cool. All right, anyways, we're going to miss Judith. I am excited about cake, though.
I realized I probably should have done this during committee moments, but it is my great joy to say that I have got coverage for coffee making for October from the meditators. Woohoo! And I'm going to be working on the SAC people for November. So if I'm contacting you or your group, I really need you to step up to make coffee. It's only 1 month. You can get 4 different people. I'll do the reminding. Thank you.
So Melanie Irie. I have a joy. I am having a procedure done on Thursday that I've been waiting to have done for quite a while. So I'm very excited to finally get some relief for this issue that I've been having for a long time. Thank you.
Hope it goes well. You have healing thoughts. All right. I have 2 from the online group this morning. One, joy from Kelly Buchanan. For those of you who were here last week, you already know how delicious it is, her pumpkin rolls. They had them for snack last week. She's going to be making them, and or you can buy them from her. Order them ahead and have them for your Thanksgiving or Halloween celebrations. It was really delicious. So more on that to come, I'm sure. And Beth Kiefer is online this morning. Everybody take a minute and just wave to Beth and say, good morning, we love you. She was in the hospital a couple of weeks ago for almost 2 weeks, and she's still not feeling all that well. But her joy is for me and my Colombian family that I met through this church years ago that I'm still in touch with, and they do a lot. We turned her yard into a show yard. I don't know if I would say quite that from a jungle, but we were out there about 3 hours yesterday and renewed my knowledge that yard work is not for me. But the boys did a great job, and it was a lot cooler than it could have been. So thank you, Beth.
Thank you to everyone who chose to share a joy or a concern today. If you would now please join me in a moment of silence for the joys and concerns that may be in people's hearts but remained unspoken. Thank you. Today, during Joys and Concerns, we have some little pieces of paper. We're going to be handing these out. If you would like to write a message to go in Judith's card, please feel free to do so. And if you would now welcome with me Judith Stein-Farrell.
Just being sure, this is for time for all ages, right?
This is time for all ages.
Okay. First of all, I had no intention of making any speeches of any kind this morning except for time for all ages. But I got to tell you, when you ask people to step up and they do, Amanda came up without to take on the trunk or treat, and I had completely forgotten I'd asked. And when I saw her up here reminding you all about it, that's a gift. That's a gift saying that something went right. And this whole congregation is something going right. So, as you just heard, if you hadn't already known, this is my last official Sunday here at Triple U. And I'm doing, instead of saying goodbye exactly, I'm having my last official responsibility with y'all. Let me tell you why I think it's important that I do this. We're commissioning our teachers this morning. When I was working for my first congregation, I started working for a congregation up in New Jersey in 2012 as an assistant in the RE department, and I had a battlefield promotion and all sorts of things, but I called one of the leaders in the denomination in Laredo and things and said, I need some advice. And I've forgotten what the advice was, but she was going back and I was like, back and forth with me, and she said, how's it going? I said, well, what I've learned is how the sausage is made. That what happens on Sunday is a lot more than what happens on Sunday. And it's not always easy. And I hope it looks easy, although some days it does and some days it doesn't. But you couldn't do it if you didn't manage to get all this help. So this morning, it's important that somebody take point, right, and make the help happen. That's why you hire people. So I'm here to tell you that it doesn't happen in a vacuum. You may not be witness to what is happening back in RE, but there's a lot going on. What you are witness to is the results of the efforts. And sometimes it takes time. And I've been here 6 years and I've watched a whole passel of kids change and mature, not change, but evolve and mature and become more of who they are. And I couldn't have done it without all the help. So this morning, I'm going to call on all the volunteers that are in teaching in RE this year, that I know of, that are already oriented, etc. And then we're going to do a responsive reading, which you may have forgotten how to do, so we're going to try that this morning. And you're just going to charge them with their job, okay? So in alphabetical order, I'd like, well, not alphabetical order, Amanda, because she's helping out with little odd jobs here and there. Carrie Mitchell, Celia Mitchell, Chloe Hatfield, Chloe McElroy, Chris Reed, Crystal Bechtold. Ender Walker's not with us this morning, but he's in my heart. John Irie, Jules Flores, please stand over there. Larry Vita, Marissa Kahn, Michelle Flores, and Remus Carr. You just sent me off. Thank you. All right. Did I miss anybody? If I missed somebody, it's purely because my brain stopped working. I didn't miss Chloe Hatfield, which I've done in the past, and so there we go. Okay. What we're doing this morning is a responsive reading. I'm going to read, oh, it's not up there yet. I'm going to read the part that is in black, and you are going to read the part that is in blue. If you have your hymnal, it's number 652 in Singing the Living Tradition. It's called The Great End in Religious Instruction, and it is by William Ellery Channing. Give you a moment to open those books if you're so inclined. There is a lot of good stuff in there. Here we go. The great end in religious instruction is not to stamp our minds upon the young, but to stir up their own.
Not to make them see with our eyes, but to look inquiringly and steadily with their own.
Not to give them a definite amount of knowledge, but to inspire a fervent love of truth.
Not to perform an outward regularity, but to touch inward strings.
Not to bind them by ineradicable, I worked on that last night, ineradicable prejudices to our particular sect or our peculiar notions.
But to prepare them for impartial, conscientious judging of whatever subjects may be offered to their decision.
Not to burden the memory, but to quicken, I want you to hear this line, not to burden the memory, but to quicken and strengthen the power of thought.
Not to impose religion upon them in the form of arbitrary rules, but to awaken the conscience, the moral discernment.
In a word, the great end is to awaken the soul, to excite and cherish spiritual life. With that, thank you all for the service you're going to be providing this year. I'll be okay. Okay.
At a wedding, they call this a reception line, but we really know it's a hugging line. So, in addition to hugs and lots of kind words, we want to also give you you'll be able to meet us at this establishment for happy hour.
Oh, dear. Thank you. Do I need to look out?
So just to let you know, we're going to be having cake after service. Please stay and join us. Many of you have written thank you notes, and I'll be collecting those along with the pens in just a moment. But if you would all now please join me in a round of applause. Thank you all. Our interlude and offering is an opportunity for you to support both our congregation and the work of organizations in our community that lift up others. Today's offering will go towards supporting the Orlando Center for Justice. Our hymn leader will be Janet. It'll be hymn number 193. And while we are singing and doing interlude and offering, I will also be collecting the slips of paper and the pencils. So lots of going on. Yeah. Okay. And the card if somebody has it.
So our administrative assistant is just started month of leave, and the PowerPoints on this kind of fell through the gaps here. So there's no PowerPoint, but I did not prepare this as a solo. So please turn to page 193 in your hymnal and sing loudly. Okay. And also, if you volunteered hymn lead, we will make sure there are PowerPoints, I promise. Okay. Our faith is but a single gem upon a rosary of beads, the thread of truth which runs through them supports a varied human needs. Confusion, wisdom, Christian care, the Buddhist way of self-control, the Muslim daily call to prayer, are proven pathways to the goal. From many lips in every age, the truth eternal is proclaimed by Western saint and Eastern sage, and all the good, however named. Beside the noblest of our race, our lives as yet cannot compare. We may at length the truth embrace, and in the sacred mission share.
Our speaker today. Oh, right. So we're going to sing our children out. Everybody ready? We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day. A moment of joy for some. That's right. Our speaker today is our own Rev Tracie Barrett, and she'll be speaking about faith and the power of having a pluralistic faith. And I look forward to hearing more about this power. So please join me in welcoming Rev Tracie.
I hope you all are as excited to be here as the kids are to go out.
Good. Grateful for the religious pluralism which enriches and ennobles our faith, we are inspired to deepen our understanding and expand our vision. As free congregations, we enter into this covenant, promising to one another our mutual trust and support. This statement is at the end of Article 2 of our Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws, otherwise known as the Principles and Sources. And it's right over there on the wall, and it's in the front of your hymnals. And sometimes it's easy to forget or ignore that part when we're working on remembering all the 7 principles and the 6 sources. But it's right there as part of our covenant that we agree to as Unitarian Universalists with other Unitarian Universalists in our association. Well, why there? Well, because it's important. Our principles and our sources together, and that's the key, together, are what we often use to define who we are. We work to live up to our 7 principles. Each day, we give it another try. Sometimes each hour, especially now. Whew. Principle 3 is the promise we make about spiritual growth, our own and within the community we've created here. That principle, which is one of my favorites, says that we covenant to affirm and promote, quote, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. And that's where our sources come into play. We are a pluralistic faith. We draw from our 6 sources for our living tradition. Well, why though? Why not 3 or 8 or an infinite number? And while I'm unsure about the infinite number part, I recognize that we have the various ones we do because they all share something in common. They call us to be our highest and our best selves. They call us to love. Henry David Thoreau, one of our transcendentalist ancestors, had this to say about love. Quote, there is no remedy for love but to love more. I'll just sit with that for a minute. Martin Luther King Jr. was a prophetic person who challenged us to confront powers and structures of evil, our second source, and he said this about love. Quote, we must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us and some evil in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemies. The Quran says, from the Quran 4:36, worship Allah and associate nothing with him, and to parents do good, and to relatives, orphans, the needy, the near neighbor, the neighbor farther away, the companion at your side, the traveler, and those whom your right hands possess. Indeed, Allah does not like those who are self-deluding and boastful. Both the Hebrew scriptures and the early Christian scriptures state that it is important to love your neighbor as yourself. Humanist author A.J. Ayer wrote in the Humanist Outlook, quote, the only possible basis for a sound morality is mutual tolerance and respect. Tolerance of one another's customs and opinions, respect for one another's rights and feelings, and awareness of one another's needs. Pagan author and activist Starhawk wrote, quote, love of self for self is the creative force of the universe. Desire is the primal energy, and that energy is erotic. The attraction of lover to beloved, of planet to star, the lust of electron for proton. Love is the glue that holds the world together. Our sources call us not only to love, but they call us to work for justice. Unitarian Transcendentalist Theodore Parker said about justice, look at the facts of the world. You see a continual and progressive triumph of the right. I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one. My eye reaches but a little ways, and I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by the experience of sight. I can divine it by conscience, and from what I see, I am sure it bends towards justice. That was who Martin Luther King was quoting, by the way, when he said the arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. He was one of ours. Suffragette Carrie Chapman Catt once said, when a just cause reaches its flood tide, whatever stands in the way must fall before its overwhelming power. I want to read that one again because that's pretty cool. When a just cause reaches its flood tide, whatever stands in the way must fall before its overwhelming power. The Dalai Lama said this about injustice: there can be no peace as long as there is grinding poverty, social injustice, inequality, oppression, environmental degradation, and as long as the weak and small continue to be trodden by the mighty and powerful. Jewish and Christian teachings are united in the idea of taking care of the sick, the needy, the stranger, and those who are oppressed. Cornel West reminded us we need the courage to question the powers that be, the courage to be impatient with evil and patient with people, the courage to fight for social justice. Pagan author and activist T. Thorne Coyle said, "Social justice has always been very close to my heart. As someone who experiences the sacred in all things, it is incumbent upon me to honor that to the best of my ability. Injustice causes a rift in the fabric of being. It is part of my work as a spiritual person to try to mend that rift, to help reweave the fabric of love. Nothing is devoid of spirit, not the stove or pots at my local soup kitchen, not the ancient forests that require protection, not the family whose teen was killed for little reason other than he was black. I feel a connection to all of these. I must help to right the world." So these 6 sources call us to love, and they call us to justice. And I could sit here all day and find quotes on any number of things that we as Unitarian Universalists are called to be from all of our sources, but I'm going to leave a little homework for you. What a rich tapestry we have when we can draw from all these various threads. Now, don't get me wrong. Our pluralistic faith does not mean that we can lift whole cloth ceremonies or cultural celebrations without being involved or part of the community. For example, we have a Passover Seder here that is led by a member with that heritage. We've done the Day of the Dead service in the past because we have someone from that culture who loves to share it with us. Our pluralistic faith does mean that we can recognize where the similarities are. And it allows us a place where we can explore and learn about a tradition or faith that may not be ours. And it means that people from these various traditions and sources should be welcome in our community. That means welcoming them, their faith, their language choices, such as God language or not, and their beliefs. They don't have to be our beliefs. We don't have to share them. We don't even have to understand them. But we are to be welcoming. We have covenanted together to accept one another and encourage spiritual growth in our congregations. And sometimes growth comes through being a bit uncomfortable, if someone finds their truth and meaning in a part of our sources where we don't. But it's that variety and that diversity within our own sources that makes the tapestry we create here so beautiful. Now, obviously, there are faith traditions and theologies that hurt people, and I'm not talking about that. We don't have to, nor should we, invite or welcome or make space for that in our congregations. We do still have the principles to remember. They are connected. So do hear me on that. At no time ever has this been a free-for-all, you can believe what you want, movement, tradition, faith, community, denomination, whatever word you want to use for Unitarian Universalism. We do have a shared theology or a belief about how the world is or can be. And that shared theology is love. That shared theology is about injustice, or about justice, fighting injustice. That shared theology is about interdependence. If someone comes into a Unitarian Universalist congregation and holds hate, injustice, oppression, and or hyper-individualism as major tenets of their worldview, this is not going to be the place for them. This past Wednesday, I told several students that I met at UCF that Unitarian Universalism is a safe and supportive space where they could deconstruct and reconstruct their theology and faith. And I give full credit to Aaron for helping me come up with that on Wednesday. However, this doesn't just apply to college students. This should be a space for all of us to do that, because ideally that's one of the things we do with a pluralistic faith. We find what fits, what doesn't, what may need to be altered, and what may need to be tossed out. I'm currently working on downsizing because we just have too much stuff and are getting ready to move. And stuff that I've carried around and moved from place to place over many years and many moves. Stuff I've held on to for various reasons. Some sentimental, some practical, some aspirational, like some items in my closet. And then there are the things I hold on to because I feel I should. Not necessarily sentimental things, more like the obligation kind of things. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? That vase or knickknack that Great Aunt Mildred gave us so long ago that doesn't fit our style or is something we don't even like? I know I'm not the only one, and no, that name is not real. Why do we hold on to these things? This, too, is the beauty and power of our pluralistic faith. You are encouraged to work out your own theology. Now, I know that word can be itchy and scary or uncomfortable for some of you, but remember what I said earlier. Your theology is your worldview. No matter where you are on the theist, non-theist spectrum, in other words, whether you believe in a deity or not, you have a theology. Merriam-Webster says that theology is, quote, the study of religious faith, practice, and experience. Our pluralistic faith gives us a lot of places to look to for informing that theology. No matter the amount of time that you've been a Unitarian Universalist, no matter how many stops you took or your winding path to get here, or if you've been a UU all of your life, you should still take time to look at your theology. See what serves you and what doesn't anymore. See what you could add or take away. In my first year of seminary, I took liberal theology as a course. And it was a lot of reading, a lot, and an intense week of spanning the history of liberal theologies and their various strengths and weaknesses. I was also sick that week because it was my first January in Chicago, so I was doped up on cold medicine, and that's not a fun way to learn about theology. So the week after the class, I approached my professor, and I remember telling him, I am feeling really unmoored after this class. My brain is having a hard time latching on to what my theology is now. When does this feeling go away? And he chuckled and said to me, when you find out, will you let me know? Because this is now a lifelong thing. Congratulations. And he was right. Ours is a living tradition. Grateful for the religious pluralism which enriches and ennobles our faith, we are inspired to deepen our understanding and expand our vision. We are inspired and even called to deepen our understanding and expand our vision. The power of our pluralistic faith is that we have a lot of threads to draw from for our own individual tapestries and our congregational tapestries. Amen. May it be so, and blessed be.
Thank you so much, Reverend Tracie. All right, we will extinguish our chalice. Please join me. Closing music. We don't want to skip that. We don't need a hymn leader on this one because I think we know it. Sunny's going to give us an introduction. Sure, you go ahead and stand if you'd like. You would all now join me in reciting the chalice extinguishing. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, nor the community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. My closing words are about gratitude. Melanie Beatty says, "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. Gratitude can even turn a stranger into a friend." Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. If you would like to stay and have cake afterwards, we'd love to have you, and I wish you a good week. Thank you. Sunny does have a beautiful prelude for us. I forgot. Oh, and Michelle is singing. Even better, not just a minor prelude, a major prelude.
Oh gosh, no pressure. Imagine all the people. Sorry. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Oh, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. You guys feel free to sing too. It's easy if you try. No greed for hunger. Sorry. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. Oh, you may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and live as one. Sarah said there's cake, right? Yeah. Hey.